Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys about AI, but without the jargon. So when I was at Ascot with the Women's Dentist Network, then, dentists were asking me, what is Claude? And sometimes I use that word, and even just that word, people aren't sure what it means. And I use it so much in my business and in my life at the moment. And I'm finding it so valuable in everything that I'm doing. And so I wanted to explain what it is without using jargon and without getting too complex. I tried teaching this in my mentorship, and it's very easy when you're into it to start talking about MCPs and APIs and all these words that I'm going to tell you a little bit about what they mean, but that I don't want us to get caught up on, and I don't really want to be using them today. I just want to explain to you the basics of what it is and how you can use it. And if you want to learn more, then we can talk about that. So I want you to start off by typing in the chat one admin job in your practice that you would pay to never do again. And that could be chasing labs, unanswered treatment plans, writing a newsletter, whatever it is, then put it in the chat, and that will give me an idea about what you want to learn. And then I'm going to stop sharing and have a look at the chat, and then I can make sure that I'm covering things. Oh yeah, compliance. It's good. It's good with policies, actually helping with policies. Yep, associate pay. So yeah, it can help with associate pay for sure. I've got a story about that with my with my bookkeeper that I don't know if I'll have time to tell you today, but she's using Claude. She's got a skill created, and Claude does my associate schedules now within a minute. Accessing, yeah, writing social media posts, notes, accounts, yeah, looking at white space. We're going to talk a little bit about SOE and comply, and about GDPR issues with us using this, because we're dentists and we don't like to break the rules, and our licenses are really important to us. So we want to use AI, but we want to use it in a really safe way, and it's been really important to me to do that. And so I want to talk to you about the journey I've been going on with that as well. Right, okay, let me go back to sharing my screen, and let me come back to this webinar, and let's have a look. So I want you guys to walk away today with the AI names, the AI language in plain English. I'm not going to use the language today. I do want to explain to you what some of it is and what it means, because people use it, and it might be the first time some of you have heard these words today, but at least you've heard it for the first time. And the next time when you hear it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember Marina mentioning that. You could even watch the webinar back. And give you, you'll have a bit more of an idea. I want to explain the difference between generative and agentic AI, because the agentic is where the magic happens, and it's very exciting. And I want to give you things that you can use in practice this week, and I want to show you live how you can use them and what you can do. I want to show you where AI helps, and I want to show you why it can't go anywhere near patients. The health restrictions that we have with health data are so strong that there would be a bunch of loops you'd need to jump through to be able to let AI access your Dentally, your Exact software, your actual patient names. And unfortunately, we're not there yet. So I'll tell you that starting off. It may get there. And also, obviously, there's all these paid subscription plans that you can use, like not just paying whatever £18 a month on Claude, but with actual companies who have gone through the hoops and got their licensing so that they can use health data, but we can't with these platforms. But let me show you the ways that you can use it. A little bit again about why I'm doing this. I run a clinic, I run an academy, I have a product line, and everything in my business needed my face, my time, my sign off. And there was definitely things that I was doing in my business that I didn't need to be doing. They were admin tasks I could have asked a team member to do if I wrote a clear SOP and taught them how to do it, and then they gave me the result and I could check it. And actually, I guess it's those tasks now that I can put over to AI, and they do it within seconds, and AI will work for me all night if I wanted to for larger tasks. But yeah, it still has my sign off. But the other thing is that using AI, and especially with Claude now, which I'm going to be talking a lot about, we've got Fable that's just been introduced, and it came onto the market, and then the government retracted it because it was too powerful, and then they put guardrails in place, and now they reinstated it. And I've been having a lot of fun with Fable, and I really feel like Fable isn't my assistant. Fable is my business development manager, and it does things so well, and it's so smart, and it will really analyze data for me and come back with ideas and research that is mind-blowing. So it's moving and using AI in a smarter, really mind-blowing way. AI has really given me my time back in so many ways. The very first way it started doing that was with presentations. When I did my we have a mini conference that we run in my mentorship annually, and when we ran the mini conference last year, and I was teaching my mentees to get their presentations ready, then I was like, you need an hour for each slide. So if it's a 20-slide presentation, it's going to take you 20 hours to prepare this thing, and then you need to rehearse it and allow the time for it so that you can create an awesome presentation. And even just last year, Gamma AI came out, and it became quicker once you'd written your presentation for Gamma to create something beautiful and branded for you. But this year, AI is creating the whole presentation branded for you within minutes, and so it's saving those 20 hours. And that's just one example. If you're someone who gives presentations, and whether you're lecturing or not, even if it's a presentation to your team or to your patients, we use it for you can use it for treatment plans. You need to be careful with patient data and putting patients' names into it. You need to put the patient names in manually afterwards, but it's really useful for creating beautiful branded pieces of work. I'm not an expert. I think I need to clarify that. I've been learning as I go. I've gone quite deep into it, so I've learned a fair bit about it, but it's definitely one of those things that I'm still learning. The way that AI works is changing. It changes weekly. And so I'm a curious dentist, just like most of you, who's been able to do some quite cool things with using AI. So what I want to do before I even start going through teaching you stuff is I want to hire a member of staff. I want to make AI a member of staff that's gonna help us out with a task. So I've got an induction brief for my new member of staff. You are a new practice assistant at Harley Row Dental. This is all fictional. Obviously, I'm not going to make it about DRMA or make it with any real paperwork that we've got or any real numbers, but so that you can have an example. So you're my new practice assistant, and it's a fictional practice. I'm going to attach our latest Google reviews. It's not my Google reviews, it's Harley Row Dental's Google reviews. I hope Harley Row Dental's not a real practice. I didn't check. I'm going to attach a supplier renewal quote. I'm going to attach my practice manager's raw notes that she jotted down, again, all fake, and we're going to have a look at that. And then while I run tonight's webinar, I want AI, and we're going to use Claude, to be running in the background and to work through step by step. And what I want it to do is to read everything. I want it to read the Google reviews, the renewal quote, my practice manager's jotted down notes. I want it to write me a practice brief. I want it to tell me what needs my attention in priority order and why. I want it to draft a gracious reply to the 2-star review. There's a 2-star review there. No excuses, no defensiveness, and offer a concrete next step. And then I want it to look across all the other reviews that we're supplying it with, that we're supplying it a screen grab off. And I want it to tell me if it notices any patterns or something that I should be picking up or something that I should be fixing about my business. I want it to read the supplier quote, and I want it to tell me one decision that I need to make by when, including anything in the terms that I should notice. And I want it to turn my practice manager's notes into next month's patient newsletter. I want it to be warm and natural, and I want it to give me 5 Instagram captions that I can use to share what my practice manager's told me about what's happening this month, and we can share on our socials. Write a warm Also, I think it'd be quite useful if, while it's at it, it could write me a warm, non-pushy re-engagement letter template that our receptionist can personalize and send to our patients who had a consultation but haven't booked treatment, and use placeholders like first name and the treatment discussed, because we're not going to share any patient details. And then we'll come back and we'll check on the work. Right, that's great. So let me grab my brief. So I'm going to just screen grab that. Okay. And this is what I was practicing. So let's go into Claude and just double checking. I can't see, but Rebecca, can you just Slack me and tell me if the screen has now changed so now you can see Claude? So I'm going to paste that in. Just check that you can see that. All good. Thank you so much. Okay, and then I need to attach those files. So demo files, that's the hire, and I want to attach these three. So practice update, fake supply review, and fake reviews. And open and let it go. Okay, so we'll let that run. I'm going to come back to my webinar. Right, so this is what I have attached: our latest Google reviews, a supply renewal quote, and my practice manager notes. And I've shown you here what they are. So it's got all these 5-star reviews, and then it's got this 2-star review, which was saying the dentist is lovely, but I waited 40 minutes. We would never make our patients wait 40 minutes with no explanation. And the reception seemed more interested in their screens. Oh, and then the patient in front of them. And for these prices, I expect better. Thinking of moving practices. Okay, so we definitely want to address that. But then, really nice. Also, reviews, 5 stars. Terrified of dentists my whole life. The team actually listened, gave me breaks. So I want Claude to read all of these for me, and let me know how to reply to Karen and what trends it can see with the other ones that it's seen. And then we've got the supplier renewal quote, and actually it was longer. It was like a few pages, but this is a screen grab of it. And so it gives me some of the information, and we'll see what Claude picks up from there. And then my practice manager, my fake practice manager, obviously this is all fictional, wrote, these are my July notes. They're raw. Sorry, I'm in a rush. New hygienist starting on the 1st of September. Maria, 12 years experience. I'm trialing Saturday mornings for August. Oh, that's nice. And 9 to 1, booking line open. There's a whitening offer for August, £100 off any whitening. Intraoral scanners arrived, no more impressions. Reception aircon fixed. Josie on front desk, 5 years with us this month. Let's celebrate her publicly. Reminder, we do 0% finance. Patients keep not knowing this. And a car park note that there's 2 free spaces behind the building now reserved for patients. We need to keep explaining that on the phone, so we need to tell our patients about it. And then Christmas closing dates confirmed. So that's all running in the background, and it's creating stuff and doing it, and we'll come back to it and see what it has created. Right, in the meantime, let me talk a little bit about all the different AI platforms that are out there. ChatGPT, or OpenAI, was the first one that we all jumped on that kind of blew our minds, where we could go in and we could get it to rewrite a WhatsApp message for us, rewrite an email more politely for us, look things up for us. And so, yeah, we've been using ChatGPT for a little while. And then Gemini came along, and Gemini is really great at creating things, creating music, creating artwork. And again, it keeps bringing out new features all the time. So I kind of think of ChatGPT as a word model, although it is getting better with its artwork now. Gemini as a more creative model. Claude, which is what I mainly use, is really thoughtful, and I feel like it does real work. And yeah, I use it. It knows my business. I've taught it about my business, and there's a way to do that, which I can explain to you, but maybe not before the match at 8. And then obviously there's Copilot, which is within Microsoft Office. It's like iPhone versus Android. You don't need all of them. You just need to kind of choose which one you want to jump on and learn it well. And there does seem to be themes. Like I feel like we were all on ChatGPT, and now people who are really into AI have moved over to Claude. And I don't know if at some point we're going to move over to another platform, but for now, I'm really loving Claude, and it's doing really good things for my business. This is where I said I wouldn't use jargon, and I'm not going to use jargon, but I just want to diffuse this language barrier, because, literally I can be talking to someone and I'll be like, hey, have you tried the MCP on Kajabi? I put in this great prompt, and then I use my API on Google Chrome, and through that I got my analytics, and then I kind of see people's faces drop and they're like, what is she talking about? Like, I've just used a whole new language that to me are things that I'm using every day now, but that maybe are not that clear. So the prompt is what you type, like what you asked Claude. And let's use Claude. Let's talk about Claude in this presentation because that's the platform that I'm using at the moment. And it's what you type. And I don't even type into my Claude. I speak into my Claude. So I've got an app called Whisperflow. You can put it on your iPhone, and you can put it on your computer, and then you just press a button and you speak. And the beauty of Whisperflow, and actually, Rebecca, can you pop the Whisperflow link in the chat in case anyone wants to check out a trial of that? There's a free version of it, there's a paid version of it, but even if you get the free version, I think it's really useful to see how much quicker and easier it makes your life. The way that it works is it's not just transcribing what you're saying, because obviously already in our iPhones we have a transcribe button. It's actually taking what you're saying, working out what it is you're trying to say, and it's correcting it. So, for example, when I write an email now, then I will click my button on my computer that I have for my Whisperflow, and then I'll be like, hey Rebecca, let's jump on Zoom at 3. No, actually, let's jump on Zoom at 4, and then we can talk about, what did we want to talk about? Oh, let's talk about AI for dentists without jargon. Okay. And then I'll stop, and it will write a beautiful email for me saying, hey Rebecca, how are you? Looking forward to meeting you for our Zoom chat at 3 p.m. To talk about the AI for dentists without jargon webinar. Kind regards, Marina. So it's quite clever like that, and saves me a lot of time as a busy dentist. So that's something to check out. So prompts is the thing that you type or that you speak into it, and when you speak, it writes it, and that's how you talk to your AI. And I think people put too much emphasis on the prompt. I think you can really be very just yourself with your prompts. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, create me a kick-ass brochure, create me a kick-ass leaflet for blah blah blah, and it will do it. So I'll be like, hey, let's go baby, and and press send, and then it will go and it will reply and be like, yeah, let's go baby, and it kind of talks back to you. So that's prompts. And then tokens, when you're using your AI, and I'll click back on the AI here, then you'll see that at the bottom of the screen, and it's not showing me because I'm sharing screen, that there's a circle, and the circle shows you how many of tokens you've used. And if you're on a free plan, then you've got so many tokens, and you can be on the £18 plan, you can be on the £100 a month plan, and your tokens then refresh after a certain number of hours. So depending what plan you're on, you'll have a number of tokens to use, and some people start getting very clever about using their tokens, and you can start learning that if you use a Word file rather than a PDF, it uses less tokens so that you can get more out of your session. But yeah, again, we don't need to go in that much detail today, but that's what tokens are. Agentic does the task in steps. So, and that's really the word of the night. So that's like what we're just doing on this, in this browser here. I've given it lots of stuff to do. I've given it lots of files to look at, and one by one, it's going through and it's doing all of that for us. And that is agentic AI. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more later. An MCP is a connector that you can connect to your AI. So some apps like Slack, like Fathom, which is something you can add to your Zoom to record your Zoom calls and transcribe them for you. Zoom have MCPs, and when something has an MCP and you link it to your to your AI through the connector. So you click on connectors and you add the connector. Then your AI can go into that platform and look for things for you and do things for you. Like, for example, I've got my Zoom account linked to my Claude account. And so when it came to setting up this webinar, I just said, hey, I want to create this webinar, AI without jargon. I want to do it on the 15th of July at 7 p.m. And can you create the webinar for me? And then it was like, oh, you need to upgrade your package for that from the normal pro plan to a webinar plan. And I was like, okay, great, let's do it. And then it can just go through and do it all for you. When it comes to upgrading, you'll need to click permissions and be like, yeah, I agree to that. But it goes into your screen and it just does it for you. You don't need to press any buttons, and that's pretty cool. Claude Code and Claude Co-work. So today we're using the chat on Claude, and that's fine. But usually I work in Claude Code, and it sounds like it's going to be all codey, like you have to write code to do things, but you don't. Like, I've literally built an app in it using Claude Code by just talking to it, telling it what app I want, and it builds it for you. So Code and Co-work are where you can work with these other apps, and it can go in your computer and it can do things for you. And again, we can talk about how to do that more safely where we've got more time. But yeah, you need to be conscious of what you're connecting it to, because it will then have access to it. You can connect it to your email account, but then it will have access to your email. So it just depends on how risk averse you are. Chat, so that's like the WhatsApp, and that's what we're using today. Hallucination is when AI is confidently wrong. Don't take AI's word for it. It's really tempting to take its word for it because it sounds so sure, but sometimes it really can get things wrong. So use your own check, like let it do the work, sit, check what it's done. And if you're not sure about something, then question it and get it to double check it for you. And then it will come back and say, oh, yeah, you're right, I made a mistake. An API is where software doesn't have an MCP that it can connect directly, but you want to connect it, then you can do it via an API. And the terminal is the scary bit, but it's really not that scary. The terminal is it's a black window inside your computer. And I've got myself my own Mac, which is my Claude computer, and I only have things open on this computer that I'm happy to use with Claude. And so I've installed Claude in my terminal. And if you're happy to do that, then you tell Claude you want to do that, and it will tell you how to open terminal and how to copy paste code into the terminal so that Claude is in your terminal and so it can use your computer, which all sounds big and scary if it's the first time you're hearing it, but I'm just introducing you tonight, and hopefully I've not already scared you off with the AI without jargon by using jargon. So, and again, just kind of explaining generative versus agentic. So generative just does the things that you ask. So you ask it to do one thing. Can you rewrite this email for me? And it does it. It's a copywriter. Agentic does things in steps towards a goal. So you tell it what its goal is. You can give it lots of tasks to do. It can go and grab different information from different places for you, and it can come back together, and it starts becoming one of your team members. It can create a Google link for you. I've got my Claude attached through a connector through an MCP to Slack, so my Claude can message my team for me, and my team will know, it's always getting messages from Claude, and you can schedule it. I'll be like, I'll grab my Claude and be like, hey, send a scheduled message to Vanessa for 9 a.m. tomorrow morning to say blah 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 blah, and then it sends it, and then at 9 a.m. in the morning Vanessa gets that message from me, and we've set it up so it says sent from Claude, so she knows that it's been sent through Claude, because sometimes it goes a bit rogue and starts sending stuff because it's trying to be too helpful, and so she needs to know it's come from Claude and not directly from me. So if she's unsure, she can double check with me, and I'll talk to you guys more about that as well. So generative is like a brilliant nurse who passes you exactly what you asked for. And agentic is like a treatment coordinator who you hand a goal to, and then they run the whole sequence. So you're like, okay, this is the patient, this is the treatment plan. And then they write the email to the this is not going to be in our case because we're not going to attach it to healthcare software, but in an equivalent situation, it writes the treatment plan, it charts it for you, schedules a follow-up sequence, and sends the patient a message, it creates a document, blah blah blah. It does everything that needs to be done in the SOP. It's being taught in the order, and I'll teach you a little bit more about that as we go through this, but I'm really conscious of time. I need to talk quicker. Okay, so 5 things you can use this week. We're going to talk about patient communications, explaining treatment in plain English, marketing in your own voice so it doesn't sound like AI, a job ad example of how it worked for me, using a real job ad that I had out, or that I have out, and AI as staff. And we'll go back to the staff member that I hired at the beginning of the session that's working for us in the background. The golden rule is that we just need to be careful with patient data. So never give it patient data, because then we will get in trouble. That is protected. Okay, so this is kind of, a basic type thing that some of you will have done before, but just in case you haven't, let's look at that. So patient communications, let me grab this. Write a warm, reassuring email to a nervous patient who's booked for veneers next week, plain English, no jargon, under 150 words, signed off from our practice. Same thing that you might say to your treatment coordinator, but we're just asking Claude to do it. So let's go into a new chat. And then I'm going to paste that. Then we'll let it write that for us. I wonder if I click off onto this, I can see how you guys doing and if there's anything. There's questions coming up. I'm going to answer these questions at the end. I'm using, Selena, while we're here, I'm using Opus for this because it doesn't need Fable. And the difference is that Fable is a mastermind and it is slower and it is deeper. And so you want to use it for big tasks. For something like today where we want to be quick, I'm using Opus. So normally you use Opus, and Fable is going to be chargeable from next week. So we'll use Opus, but for the big things, I use Fable, and wow, it's pretty mind-blowing. So here's an email. Dear patient name, really looking forward to seeing you next week for your veneers. We wanted to reach out ahead of your appointment. It's completely normal to feel a little nervous. We want you to know that you're in caring, experienced hands. We'll walk you through each step as we go, and nothing will happen until you feel ready. If you'd like to pause at any point, you just let us know. Your comfort comes first. Now, this M dash is always a bit of a giveaway, and so you want to put in your rules. You can put rules for Claude in your settings. No M dashes. I've switched everything off today, so it hasn't got a memory. But normally it would know not to do that. Please feel free to bring anything along that helps you relax, whether it's your favorite music or simply a list of questions. There's no such thing as a silly one. If anything's on your mind before, then do get in touch. We're always happy to help. So that's lovely, and maybe better than one of our team would have written. And then, if we said to it to make it more casual, then we could see what it comes out with. So if I speak to it, make it more casual. All right, so we're going to speak to it because I pressed the button. And then it will do it for that. And so, yeah, it writes better than our team members. And our team know that. And so, they use their AI to make sure. Quick note ahead of your appointment, feeling a bit nervous, totally normal. Honestly, most people are. You're in really good hands. Feel free to whatever, something in your mind, your job, and happy to help. So yeah, there's a great example of an easy way that you can use it straight away. And then, explaining treatment, if patient messages into the clinic and asks your reception, asks your treatment coordinator, but what's the difference between composite bonding and porcelain veneers? And the problem is that we love using jargon, and then we try and explain things and the patients don't know what we're talking about, but AI does. So if we copy and paste that, and then if I go to new, and if you guys are watching the playback, then I don't need to read this to you now, but it's written it so beautifully. It uses a tooth-colored putty that's shaped directly onto your teeth, and then we harden it with a light. It's like a sculptor building up material by hand. The good bits, it's in a single visit. The trade-offs, it's not as quite as strong. Porcelain veneers, and then an honest summary. And then it's asked me, do I want to turn this into a printable patient handout for the clinic? And how awesome is that? Because straight away, this is something that you can put onto your website that, yeah, you could be like, yeah, let's make a handout. If it's got your branding instructions, it will brand and it will create a beautiful handout for you within seconds, which is pretty awesome and very quick. And then marketing. So, I think people have started to use AI for their marketing, but the problem is, I don't know about you guys, but I can really spot the AI posts that are out there. And so you want it to sound like yourself. So you want to give it, and you want to teach it. So you give it an example of captions that you've written yourself. I've got these 3 captions here. We've got an Ascot one there. We've got DI Clinic's birthday and something about the Tatler address book. And then I'm going to ask it to write 5 new Instagram captions in this exact tone about why veneers should look natural and not look like turkey teeth. So let's grab that. And let's just come and just open a new one. And send. And then because it's got information about me, and if you're working in, and again, I don't want to go into too much detail today, but if you're working in chat, then you can give examples like this. But if you're working in co-work, you can create an Instagram post project and you can put examples of your content in there. You could put examples of content that you like in there. You can make a plan in there. You can have Claude interview you about what your goals are for your Instagram page, and then together it can build out a whole schedule for you. So these are captions in my voice. There's a look I never want to give my patients, and you know the one I mean. That row of identical, blindingly white, oversized turkey teeth that announces itself the second someone walks into a room. That's not artistry, that's a factory setting. And at DRMR, we design smiles that make people say, you look wonderful, not, what did you have done? Undetectably perfect and naturally you. I use the word undetectably a lot, so it's nice that you picked that up. So there's an example of 5 captions that straight away we can use as captions. You can even get them, so it's saying, do you want me to adjust the length, the handles, or tailor of any of these? And then I'd be like, can you give me a script for each of these reels? And it can give you a script for each one, and then you can go into the edits app, which is attached to Instagram, and you can copy and paste the script on a teleprompter, and within a minute you can film this reel, and you can have it posted or sent to your team to post to your Instagram for you. So it's telling you exactly how to film each one of those, so that's pretty cool. This happened recently. I posted a job ad on Indeed, and it was for front of house, and they would need to do a little bit of dental nursing. And we had loads of applicants, but we didn't have the right applicants. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to Claude and find out what's going on here and how we can make this better. So I said, I recently posted this ad on Indeed. We didn't get the right applicants. Here's my website so you can see the kind of practice we are. So let it go and have a look at your website. The pay is already good for our area, but can you look at the wording and how we present the role and suggest some improvements? And I mean, this was pretty mind-blowing for us, but we'll do it live. So it hasn't got the job ad yet. So it's going to ask me for it. I don't see your ad. So let's grab the ad. That's that there. It's here. Let me just see if I can grab it. It's not going to let me. So let me just open Claude here because I've got it here. Copy. Good job that I practiced this. so that I knew it might not let me copy it. Okay, so it started asking me questions. Could you copy and paste the ad here? Once I have it, I'll review it alongside your website. And let me grab a look at your website in the meantime. Okay, so I've got a clear idea of your website, award-winning, blah, blah, blah. What is the role for? So I don't need to answer that because I'm going to put the role in. And while it's doing that, I'll just have a look at you guys. There are so many files being stored on Claude. How do you arrange them? Which ones do you delete? Yes, Claude does it. Richard, you ask Claude to do it. Claude, because I use a separate computer for my Claude because I'm fully invested. But to be fair, even if you've just got a Claude folder, then you get Claude to organize your documents and put them into folders for you and get rid of duplicates and sort it out. And Claude loves sorting out folders. So let it do that for you. Let's come back to this. Now I can see it, and here's my honest read. The core problem is the ad works against itself. You're a Tatler featured dentist and blah, 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 the right applicant, and then you're asking for 2 skilled jobs in one. The role reads as enormous. The task list is 25 duties, spanning nursing, reception, sales. The tone is inward facing. Lots of Dr. Munira Rhodes' vision. Support Dr. Rhodes. Top candidates don't want to know what they get. The role of dental nurse is self-explanatory. And then I've asked for a video. So we decided recently that we would get applicants for all job roles to send short videos in so that we could review the video before going on to the next step. But yeah, it's really difficult to get. I got a lot for the practice manager position, but not so many for the front of house nurse position. And so it's saying like you're stopping applicants by asking for a video. And you mentioned the pay is good, and so right off the benefits are. So then it rewrote the ad for me, and then it said, yeah. So anyway, in real life, it rewrote the ad for me, and then it said I would also, because in real life, it's got the memory from my chat, so it knows a lot about my business. And so it said, you know what, you need to post this on Instagram. You've got a big Instagram following. You need a picture of you and your team saying we're hiring on it. This is the caption for it. You know, there'll be people who know about your business who want to work in it, who will see it. So that's great. And you'll see that post coming out this week. And then, but also the rewritten ad, so award-winning clinic, no weekends. Like I hadn't mentioned that it was no weekends before, but it said to point that out. And it's got rid of the big list of tasks that they need to do. But the rewritten ad that it gave me was has got such better applicants. Like my team member who's doing the interviews for me was like, wow, there's a world of difference between the applicants that we got through the rewritten ad compared with the one that I originally wrote, which I actually thought was very good. Like, do you want to work in a luxury environment but also train as a dental nurse and don't want to give that up? If so, we are looking for you. But yeah, that didn't work so well. Anyway, right, let's go back to the staff that we hired at the start and let me do a time check. We've got just under 20 minutes. So right, I'll work through all 6 tasks. Let me start by confirming I've read everything, the 3 documents in front of me, and then build out each deliverable. So practice brief, what needs your attention? Priority, the supplier contract auto renews if you don't act by the 25th. So, if someone just sends you a quote and you ask it, that's important to me to know that this is time sensitive. And if I don't reply, it's going to auto renew. So I'm grateful that Claude's pointed that out to me. And then it's telling me that there's real money attached and that there's a 9% jump in what they're charging me, and that I'm locked in for 12 months. So, and it's given me more details in section 4. The 2-star review is live and public. So this is really important. It's something that's actively costing you prospective patients right now. So we need to do the reply for that. And then the recurring fixable patient experience gap. So that's what it picked up from the reviews and from my manager notes, that these were things that we need to make sure that if we've got these free reserved spaces that nobody knows about, and reviews are dinging us about lack of parking, then that's a cheap fix and it's going to be an immediate improvement to my business. And time-sensitive good news to publicize: the Saturday morning start in August. It's coming soon. We need to publicize that. The August whitening offer, the new scanner. So remember, this is all fictional data. It's not about our clinic, but yeah, you have a marketing window, and so you need to work on this now. And then untapped conversions. So consult patients who never book plus patients who don't know about 0% finance. This is low FN. It's going to give the highest return. So this is all really important. People to celebrate. We must celebrate Josie's 5 years and Maria joining. Culture wins, no deadline, but easy, and they're worth doing. So it wrote the reply to the 5-star review, and again, you guys can have a look at that. It found patterns across the reviews that people were talking about the reception. So it's something to flag with my fake reception staff here. My reception staff are actually very attentive. And parking. So it's something that we need to both a front of house and not clinical. So it's something I need to talk to my front of house team about at our next meeting. With the supplier quote, it's given me the important information that I needed so that I don't need to read the whole 6-page document. I've just got the info that I need and I can make a decision. And then it's saying get a competitor quote because... and then renegotiate the 9%, which is nice. And then it's written newsletters. Who likes writing a newsletter? No one. And the beautiful thing about agentic AI is that, and again, it's a longer conversation, but you can get it so that it writes your newsletter for you. You approve the newsletters, and then it goes through an MCP into your platform or through an API to MailChimp, and it can draft the newsletter for you. And if you're using a platform that has an MCP, then it can schedule the newsletter for you, and it can just send it out for you. And so I had that once. I built up a routine, because you can send up a routine, and I had it so that it picks up relevant news stories that are happening in the world that are relevant to dental press, or maybe relevant to my patients, and relate them back to my business and write a newsletter about that. And I asked it to do that on a weekly basis and show me a newsletter example, and then it showed me, and I clicked yes, and then it scheduled it to go out, and then I kind of was just testing it, but then it scheduled and it went out, and so it was fine. The newsletter went out, and I got some replies saying, "Oh, great newsletter," but I was like, "Oh yeah, that was me learning how to use this." So yeah, but you do need to click the go ahead when you send things to actually go. So it won't do things without you saying yes, but be careful about what you're clicking on. If you're using MCPs and if it's got the ability to do that. If it's just giving you the copy here and you need to copy and paste it somewhere else, that's not going to happen. And then all 6 are done. A quick recap. The newsletter, we've got 5 Instagram captions. So it's made Instagram posts about the Saturday hours that we're opening on Saturdays, about Maria, about the scanner, about the whitening offer, about parking, about finance, about Josie, and about the Christmas date. So it's taken all the things that my fake practice manager wrote in those, what she jotted down, and it's created a newsletter around it, and it's created Instagram captions, and it's saved them for me in a file. And then it's got a re-engagement letter template, which I can give to my team so that they can then send it out to any treatment plan patients who have been in for consultation and not started. And it's mentioned about the finance because it's pulled the interesting things from what it's learned to make sure that we're letting patients know. And then it's saying the really time-sensitive thing is the renewal quote. And then it's got the newsletter here for me to download, and it's got the re-engagement letter. So yeah, that's pretty cool that it's done all of that. Let me watch the time. These are some cool ways that I've been using agentic AI in my business. I have something called the Empire Dashboard that oversees my empire. So it's my clinic, my academy, and my product line. And these are obviously fake numbers because we know that I have 44,000 followers on my main Instagram account, and we have the others, but it gives me a brief that it runs every Monday morning. So I wake up and it's worked all night. It's got the figures for me fresh. So at 9 a.m. Or 8 a.m., this one is on a Monday morning. It gives me where my Instagram followers are, how much it's increased by recently, because we're actively growing our Instagram because it's a useful source of patients for us. My mentorship, how it's going, and where our numbers are there, and revenue. If you can attach it to 0, so it can help with revenue. We haven't attached it to Dentally. I haven't actually attached it to 0 either, but my bookkeeper has, and she uses it to do my accounts. And you can attach it potentially to your Google Drive so that you could see the new leads that had come in. But I think to do that, you need to be on a team plan, because that has data protection, which the normal Pro and Max plan don't, but we'll talk about that in a second. And then it tells me about which reels did best for me, how many discovery calls I've got booked in this week for my mentorship, how much, my list grew by. And I've got different things that I measure on my Empire dashboard, and I also change it with Claude. When suddenly something becomes important to me, I'm like, can you include these figures in my Empire dashboard? And I make sure that it has access to a way that it can grab those figures for me so that I have them. And that's just talking to it, right? And actually it can talk to you. The more it gets to know you, there's this thing called a context vault that, again, I don't have time to talk about right now, but you create this context vault with it so that it knows about you and it knows about your business, and it gets to know from the things you ask what's important to you. And then you ask it, like, what would be useful, do you think, for me in the Empire dashboard? And then it can tell you which figures it can grab, and you can yes or no it and decide what you might want to do. And then it tells me which decisions I need to make about this week, or things that need to be handled. Also, of course, I said earlier about how I've attached it to Slack, and Rebecca will tell you, because Claude messages her all the time. So it starts with this is Claude, and then it'll give us an update on if I've got like a discovery call booked in the mentorship. It will tell me who the discovery call's in with, what they said that they wanted to talk about. So half an hour before the discovery call, I get a Slack message that gives me an update on it said that the mentees, the potential mentee or person doing your design smile course, has been sent the brochure. They asked about payment dates, so I know it's something that I need to address. So it's a very easy synopsis that previously my team member would have had to get the information together and manually send to me, that now Claude does automatically. And then, you can have this whole workflow that, and as dentists, we really need to look into compliance and make sure. So I've not done this in my clinic yet, but I may have very soon, because I'm just looking at the team plan and if it will cover us data-wise to do this. But I did try it with my academy last week with people that were booking discovery calls. And so in clinic, it would be like, with me, it's that a dentist books a discovery call with me. In clinic, it would be that a patient books a discovery call with your TCO, and then they have a booking form where they put notes in it. And then just before the call, I get a Slack message that gives me information about the person. And then I have the Zoom conversation, or your TCO would have the Zoom conversation with the patient. And Fathom, which is an app, records the call and transcribes the conversation. But with patients, it's difficult because of patient consent, first of all, and we don't want to share patient health data. And then Claude goes in, checks in via MCP. So my Claude does it when I have my discovery calls, which are Monday and Friday. And then it grabs the information from what was discussed, what the person said that they wanted, whether it was all covered in the call, how I did on the call, and make sure that I covered everything that was important. And then what they think at the end of the call, the outcome is. Has that person signed up? Are they looking for more information? Is there something else that Rebecca needs to do and needs to send out? So it does sorts all that out, and then it sends the information to Rebecca, what Rebecca needs to know, actionable points, and to me. So that's really cool. Yeah, so we're looking at the Claude Team account. So it's $20 a month. It's £18 a month, but you need 5 in your team. So it's $100 a month. And then everyone in your team has their own Claude account that can link, but then that way you get data compliance that you don't get on the other plans. So that's something to look at if we want to start using it more in our practices. But again, we need to be really careful about patient names. But in the academy, we tried it out last week. I'm just going to put this here because everyone's going to start leaving now to watch the game. It's a QR code. I don't necessarily want to run like an advanced paid course on this, but if you want me to run an advanced paid course on this, then if you can scan this QR code and fill in your details, and if there's enough people on the waiting list who are interested in it, then I will put one together, maybe like a 6-week course. I'm not sure. I'll need to look into what it is, but there's so much that I would like to go into like more deeply and show you how I do things and show you how it all works that can't be done on this call. And so if that's interesting to you, then yeah, fill that out, and the link will come on the email that you get tomorrow as well. It's really important that you don't put identifiable patient information into an AI account, whether it's free or whether it's paid. Health data has its own governance, and so we need to be really careful about that as dentists. We don't want to use it for diagnosis or for clinical decisions. We're the clinician, so even if it helps us, like, we have AI x-rays in the clinic, don't assume it's correct. You need to use your own eyes and see whether you agree with what it's diagnosed, and always check what's written before it goes out, because it's really confident but it's not always correct. Tonight's education, it's not legal, it's not data protection advice, and definitely talk to your indemnity provider first. I wanted to give you guys a bit of homework before you leave. You can take a photo of this. I want you to copy and paste this and put it into your preferred AI platform, and it will also be sent out on the email that you get tomorrow. But you're my new practice assistant. Ask me 5 questions about my practice, one at a time. Claude is very good at interviewing you, and then tell me the 3 jobs you could take off my plate this month and help me start the first one right now. And it's really as simple as that, and it will just hold your hand and it will lead you through making this happen for you. Don't try and automate your whole practice this month, but automate one thing. And if you do that, you're probably already ahead of nearly every practice in the country. And that's it. Apart from, we'll do a quick Q&A leading up to the game. There's a prompt pack that we've got for you that will come to your email tomorrow. There's a decoder, like where I was explaining what the jargon was, that will come to you. Tonight's homework, the prompt is there that you can copy and paste, and a recording of tonight's webinar. I want you to enjoy the football, and it says the wait list is on the next slide, but you guys have already seen that, so that's there. So with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to come back to you guys, and we have 5 minutes so that I can look at your questions. Thank you, Julie. I'm glad it was useful. I really wanted to provide value. Annette, I'm excited about your Claude journey. You're going to take over the world with your myofunctional business. I'm very excited for you. She's excellent myofunctional clinician, by the way. Thanks, guys. Right, let me have a look at questions. Have you popped them in the chat? Yes, you have. Right.
There's some in the Q&A box as well, Manrina, if you want me to go through those first.
Yeah, are they different from this webinar chat?
Some of them are up to
yeah. Where can I see them?
Shall I just go through them and then you can answer?
Yeah. Okay.
So there are
just wonder where we've only got 4 minutes, whether we need to pick the most important ones.
Well, there's lots of questions about treatment plans.
Yeah. Okay.
So should we cover that?
Yeah. So you can use AI, as far as, again, check with your indemnity, and I don't want to break any rules, but I think you can use AI to write your treatment plans as long as you don't have a patient's name or date of birth anywhere near that treatment plan. So you have to add that in afterwards.
And then lots of people saying that they're using ChatGPT, and this actually came up in our mentorship group earlier this week. They've used ChatGPT for over a year. It's got all their information. They know them so well, so they feel like if they move over to Claude, they're going to miss out of a whole year of history.
Yeah, so you can import your data from ChatGPT into Claude. If you just ask your AI how to do that, it will tell you how to export, create a file that you can upload into the new AI. However, can I suggest you don't, and you start fresh, with Claude, if you're coming onto Claude, there's something called the context vault. And I wish I had more time, but there's this lady called Ali Miller, and she's on Instagram and she's amazing. And do you have the context vault? Can you attach it, Rebecca?
Yeah, just
To the
putting it
chat.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So what this is I'll mention we've got this. This is how you teach Claude about you and your business. It's like a counseling session, and it teaches it really deeply what it needs to know. So it doesn't need to know, what washing machine you've been buying or what you've been doing. If you're using this for business, then take it seriously and use it for business. Keep your ChatGPT to talk about your private life and just teach it what it needs to know. So I think maybe start from scratch and try that. But if you want to import it, then there is a way to do it. You can export your information from ChatGPT and move it into Claude. Are there? Yep. Sorry, go on. I'm trying to read those chats.
Sorry, if you want to pick one. There's lots coming in. I'm just trying to go through what you might not have covered. Nikesh is asking if you were to go into say top 3 tasks a general dentist can do with Claude, what would you recommend?
Marketing big time. So I, you guys will know that we might know or not know that I use LinkedIn a lot. I post 8:30 a.m. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays every week, and I have done for years. And it's time consuming. And I've talked a lot on other webinars about how I create those posts, but batch create them in advance. But it's just been so much easier with Claude because I use a platform called Vista Social, which has an MCP and it links to Claude. And maybe you can put the link for Vista Social or you put the context vault. This is a really good link, guys, where Rebecca's just posted that context, Rebecca DRMR Academy. Click on that and do that. Use that. Go through those instructions. Are they the mentorship instructions, Rebecca? So it explains to them exactly how to use it.
Yes.
That will change your AI life. That's where AI becomes really useful. But I think automating the way that you can automate marketing is amazing. That it can write your posts, it can create your posts in your voice with your real stories. You can link it to your Fathom account so it can read your transcripts, and then you can get it to interview you and find out what your pillars are that you want to post about. And then from that you can give it examples of your voice. And so from that it can write 12 posts for you for the month of real life stories about things that have happened to you this month. You can import a library of photos, like in the mentorship, I talk about having a photo shoot. I have photo shoots at least once a year. Then I import all the photo shoots into it. It chooses the best image. You can also show it the images of generated images that you like, and it can generate that for you. So it can literally create all your social media content. You just need to approve it, and then it just takes it into Vista Social and schedules it in the next free gap at the times that you've told it to do that. So marketing, without a doubt, is the first way that change blows your mind. Frequently asked questions on the website, SEO, optimizing SEO. I mean, you can get Claude to optimize the SEO on your website for you every week, get it to scan your website, get it to scan competitors' websites, see where they're rating and where things are doing, what's doing well, tell you what's missing on yours and how you can rate better, what you need to include. And then if you've got an MCP where it can go into your website, it can just make the changes. Or if you've got a web developer looking after your site, you just send them instructions and they make the changes for you, and they're updating your website in real time. So SEO, creating LinkedIn content or social media content, creating blogs again for SEO. It will write the blogs for you in your tone of voice. There's a skill, and I haven't talked about skills today because it's something else, but there's a skill that you can a humanizer skill that updates routinely, that you can put into your Claude so that it always writes like a human. It doesn't use any of the new things that AI are using to show that it's AI, so that the internet doesn't know that it's AI. So yeah, those are probably my 3 things. And it's 8:01 and I think you guys need to go. But guys, hopefully you got the waitlist QR code. If not, contact Rebecca. If you go onto my website, drmr.co.uk, go into the courses bit, there's a WhatsApp tab. You can WhatsApp, you can speak to Rebecca, DRMR Academy on Instagram, click on the WhatsApp, speak to Rebecca, message her, tell her what you need, and she will get it to you. And if you guys want, and you want to go into detail in this and on how I do all the things that I do, and there's so many things, then I can make the time to create that for you. Thank you. Good night. Go bring it home. Go England. Bye, guys.